أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum salam rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. I want to thank all of you for joining us, our family here. Just talking slow because I want to share the program, and I'm asking all of you to please share the program, regardless of what platform you're on. You're on YouTube, Facebook. Share, let everyone know that we are here. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. As you all can see, we have a special guest. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Abdullah. I am the Imam of Masjid in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And to my, is that a right or a left? I don't know. To next to me on the screen is our brother Faheem Lee, who's the Imam of Quba School and Islamic Center in Camden, New Jersey. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. And our regular host, our brother, our Imam, Amin Muhammad, he's going to be running a few minutes late. You know, he's doing his oldest thing. he's running a few minutes late. He'll be joining us any minute, inshallah. But we have a good brother to the bottom of us, Hassan Patton Bey. Inshallah, we're going to be spending some time talking with him, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, my brother, and marhaban, welcome.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah.
We are thankful and appreciative of the fact that you are joining us. Alhamdulillah. And just in case you all missed or you forgot, please share. Share the video. I'm pretty sure that we're going to get some beneficial and inspiring information and conversation this evening. Alhamdulillah. I just want to shout out and mention a few of our listeners and some of our 3453 family, like our sister Fatima, Rosalinda, Imari, Hanif, Jihad, Uthman, Fatima, Khadija, Abdullah, Isa, Begum, Akila. If I beat up any of your names, I apologize. Our brother Hajj Tamir, Nisa, Lavon, Anissa, Lance, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All of you on. I said Khadijah wrong. Listen, woman, you my daughter. I said it right. I know your name. Dr. Sabir. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Miriam, excuse me. Alhamdulillah. I'm glad you're here. Share the video. Let's get these numbers up. Zahira. Aisha. Welcome. Kamisha. Abu Muwadda. Mabruk. I'm saying congratulations to my brother. His wife just brought another son of his into the world. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Amina and Abdul Rashid, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Stephanie, all of y'all, alhamdulillah. I like to see y'all checking in. This is not a lecture. This is a roundtable and a discussion. So we expect participation from all of you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. You ready?
Yes, inshallah.
Imam Faheem, you got anything you want to say before we go in?
Assalamu alaikum Abdullah. Drop that bread. Let's go. That cover fee is due. Get that money up, man.
Alhamdulillah. You prefer we call you Hassan?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Alhamdulillah. Hassan, alhamdulillah. Can you tell us a little bit about you? Like, where you from? When did you become Muslim, or do you have Muslim parents? Give us a little backstory about yourself.
Okay. My name is Mulay Hassan Patton Bey, and for some people who are familiar with old school, the name Bey means that there's connection to the Moorish Science Temple. My grandparents joined that organization in 1945 in Chicago. My father grew up in that organization, and as well as I did my formative years. My family moved from Chicago to Mississippi. I graduated. Well, I went to school in to Jackson State. Then I went to San Francisco State, and then there I met someone who told me that he informed me about Sunni Islam. He encouraged me to travel. After I graduated, which was back in 1986, and from there I went overseas. And I went, to part of Europe, part of Africa. I spent 4 months in Turkey.
Excuse me, Mulay Hassan. Your voice is coming through choppy.
Oh.
And it's hard to understand.
Let's see. What about now?
Sounds a little better. Keep talking.
Still the same?
It seems better.
So I went over. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So I went overseas, and alhamdulillah, I learned some things, and then came back to the States and joined different Muslim communities, including in New York. Fast forward some years, and we're now here in Memphis, Tennessee, where we have the Memphis Dao Association, which was formed in actually 2014. And so, of course, for the name, obviously, we're involved in a dawah, but also in terms of social services and, inshallah, trying to implement Fard Kifaya and what that means in terms of building a community and connecting communities. Did you? And so that's that's where we are now. Inshallah, we are in the process now of establishing an academy and seminary, and also we purchased 2 buildings. Inshallah, we're converting one into a masjid and also a kuliya in the Turkish sense, in terms of having other entities like like a health clinic, like farm and gardening, like other type of social services and community. For Muslims and inshallah for non-Muslims. And then the other property we purchased was for a school, actually close to Graceland, Elvis Presley's home, and that's on 5.4 acres with square footage of 54,000 square feet. So we're trying to develop both of those properties, inshallah, particularly over the next year and a half, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll be successful in completing that.
Alhamdulillah. So it sounds like you have a lot of land, a lot of property, and you, alhamdulillah. Imam Faheem, you was about to say something?
No.
Okay.
I'm all ears for the Sheikh today. It's his show, basically. We bought tickets today.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. So, can you, the best way you can, you already mentioned it, but can you make it more visual, more graphic for us? The properties that you have, and what you have, what is functioning now, and what you intend to do for the future.
Okay. Inshallah, the first building we purchased, the acreage on that is 4.8 acres, and the building on that property is 34,000 square feet. So what happened with that property? It was basically gutted out and vandalized. The property is made out of the structure is made out of concrete. So there was damage in terms of, electrical, of course, heating, lights, and those types of things. So now we're on working on doing the construction of that. We have a team actually from a Turkish team, inshallah, that's going to be doing the helping with the reconstruction of that building and property and things like that. Is it coming through clear, or you still is
Yeah,
muffled?
no, it's good now. You're good.
Okay, okay. So inshallah, we're trying to do that at the same time. The other property, which is where we inshallah will have the academy and seminary, we're doing a mobile food pantry. So alhamdulillah, we've been doing it since July. We feed approximately between 400 to 500 families per week. We also hand out literature about Islam. So that's on a weekly basis that we've been doing since July. And alhamdulillah, it's made a very good impact on that community and also in other areas. I mean, it changes the perception that people, have of Islam. In that area, in the area that we have these properties, it's in Memphis. It's called White Haven. There's approximately 1,200 Muslim families, mostly African American, in that area. So we are reaching out to them. We're reaching out to non-Muslims in terms of trying to inform them about Islam. We're reaching out to second generation young people who are trying to figure out how to live in this country, how to be Muslim and how to be productive and how to be part of the society and not isolating oneself away from society. Um, Regarding the first property I mentioned, which is we've referred to it as the Kulia, we also are in the process right now of developing about 2 acres of it into a community/farm. Inshallah, we're working on getting it classified as a USDA, as a farm, and then therefore it would also be eligible to be listed as a teaching institute. And so from that will be also part of the curriculum of the school, of the elementary, and inshallah also of the high school. But also it gets into other matters in terms of food production. Inshallah, Memphis is, people may not realize this, but Memphis is basically on the border of Mississippi. So that gives us an opportunity, for instance, once you have that classification, to get like grants and these types of things. So then you're talking about then purchasing property and farming, larger tracts of property. And so in some ways, it's going back to old school as other Muslim communities before, in terms of getting farmland, having their farmland, harvesting, doing farmers market, um, and also in this case, because of Memphis, there's a lot of warehouses and things like that. It makes us also have the opportunity to start warehousing food. What the pandemic has, taught us is that may not be able to always go to Kroger or to Walmart, and so you need to be able to feed yourself. You need to be able to feed your community. And because of the location that we're at, inshallah, it gives us an opportunity to think on that type of scale.
Alhamdulillah. And all of this is your brainchild?
Um, we started it off in 2014. In terms of Memphis Dawah, it was me and several other people from the community, because we got to the point where it became obvious the main word that comes to mind is sustainability. And we need to be able to preserve, of course, preserve our religion. And how do you go about doing that? It means you have to establish schools. It means you need to have businesses. We need to have doctors and lawyers and all these types of things in our community. And it's not just, it's not just a thing of going to the Masjid on Friday and Sunday and call it a day. The community can't be sustainable if things are done in such a manner. You know what I mean? How are you going to teach in terms to be a hafiz? You have to have something in place in order to do that. In particularly, I mean, if you're you have a Muslim minority in the country, there needs to be things set up so that you build a community, to protect yourselves and to have a sense of independence.
Alhamdulillah. Hajj Tamir, he says, Subhanallah, this brother is a person who gets things done. For real, we have been companions for over 25 years. He is the real deal. So, your reputation precedes you, alhamdulillah. And we need to, it's good to have, success stories and people who are, putting in work on the ground, especially for people like us that look like us. Alhamdulillah. I want to ask you, I never been to Memphis before. Can you kind of like paint a picture of what, like what the Muslim community looks like in Memphis? Like how many masjids are there? Stuff like that.
Approximately, there's around 20,000. They say around the last count was around 20,000 Muslims. Mostly, it is made up of immigrants. The West Africans being a large part of that. You have a Palestinian population, and then you have Pakistani population. Memphis is a city. Well, I shouldn't say city. Memphis is like a big town. In terms of, let me put it this way. The Black Power movement never reached Memphis. So because of that, there is an abundance of ignorance about Islam and Muslims and these types of things. So for Memphis, it's like from civil rights, and then it just, sort of just dropped off after that. So for us, we experience, discrimination from people because we're Muslim, even among African Americans. Whereas up north, it's not as much. And so, but now what you have is a generation of young African Americans that are drifting away from the church into this ambivalence. And so, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to, if we provide vision and actions and things like that, that people can do. And if people can see that we are doing something, then it changes, the perception of Muslims. And this is very critical. So for us, we're trying to work on the ground. I mean, mashallah. I mean, one time I had my son. He was at the food pantry, and you had these women who were not Muslim, and so he's putting food into the into her car, and then she said, God bless you, son. And then he was asking, when are you all going to open up, and that type of thing. And so, for him, it was a powerful moment. I mean, he didn't know this person, but he saw the thankfulness in her face. And so for us, there's a dual thing here. We're doing, first of all, a huge sunnah, meaning feeding those who are poor. And at the same time, we're informing people about Islam. So this is a huge opportunity. So for young people to see, and we need to give young people action and things to do. Far too long, you have the thing in terms of, if you're talking about like Memphis and other places, whereas again, you have the situation where you have African Americans who are in the inner city, but this is not so much in Memphis because there's not that many African American who are Muslims. But then you have the suburban thing with the immigrants, and then you have the Sunday school, and that's about it. And people are happy about that, and it's not sufficient. It's not sustainable, because what eventually happens? Okay, your kids go to public school. You are trying to counter basically 6 or 7 hours per day, 5 days a week, and you're going to have them have Quran class for 2 hours. How long before that affects your child? Of course it's going to affect them. Once they then graduate, they move away. Okay, then what do you have then? You don't have a community. You have people who came here, did not dig roots into the ground, and basically is not left much for the local people that's there, or even for their children. And so we've seen this repeated time and time again. And it's important, particularly among African Americans, that we develop communities, real communities, functioning communities that we have in our history. I mean, not too long ago, of course, it was very publicized regarding Tulsa and these types of things. And so when people were talking about Tulsa, what were they talking about? That they had banks, that they had doctors, that they had lawyers, that they had pharmacies, these types of things. We've done this before, and there's no reason why, particularly religiously, that we are not doing these things again. And so that requires us, working together, sharing resources, sharing information, and having action plans.
Alhamdulillah, we agree with you. And in fact, that's the theme for our program tonight, connecting our communities. Imam Amin Muhammad, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
salam.
Sorry for being late, but some of us got to work around here. No, I'm joking. Alhamdulillah, welcome, Sidi Hassan. How is things going?
Alhamdulillah.
I heard some of the things. I didn't hear everything, but I'm very familiar with your work and with the things you're doing. And part of inviting you to come on is this actual connecting our communities, because we have Imam Faheem Lee, he's in Camden, New Jersey. Imam Naeem Abdullah, he's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And as you know, I'm in Atlantic City, and you being in Memphis. And we've talked about these things over the years when you came to Atlantic City to the African American Islamic Summit. And we're still doing this work. And for me, one of the biggest concerns that I have, and it's a question, and as I told you before you come on, this is the Black Imams Roundtable, so we are straightforward,
right.
No card. If you scared, run. Right? that's how we get out, right? Because that's part of being African American. We real, right?
Yeah.
One question: what was, we have in our studies such thing as called al-ba'ith. This urge, what pushed you and motivated you to do what you're doing? What did you see? What gaps did you feel need to be filled that said, you know what, I have to do this work. I have to put this in progress. What were, if you could say 3 things that were the motivating factors for you to do what you do, what would they be?
One is time. I mean, my age, and the thing is, if the old question, if not you, who? The other thing is that there's a sense of responsibility of all the people that that has gone before us, and the fact of the matter is, it has to change. I mean, and we're not seeing things improve substantially in our community. We've been held back in some parts by others, but also sometimes by ourselves, and we just have to change the paradigm. There are people who try to convince us that that we should not be thinking and acting and implementing things as if we lived here. Meaning that we should be like guests in our own country. And, the thing is like I said, I've met too many people, too many brothers that I've known who have passed away, like Hajj Hamid and others, who wanted to build things. And, we hesitated, and we don't have that much time. I mean, over the past 2 years, I've lost very dear friends of mine, and time is not on our side. And if we don't do this now, when are we going to do it? And those who are able and who have the drive and who have the means, this is fard upon us. We throw the term fard kifaya out there, And people, well, it means, when somebody dies, that you're taking care and burying him and things like that. Fard Kifaya means a whole lot more than that. And the fact of the matter is fard is obligation. And what's the obligation is preserving of the religion. And how do you go about doing that? And what does that mean? I mean, you have to preserve the Quran, obviously. So that means that you have to develop a system in terms of that you're producing hafiz. Okay, how are you going to support that? How are you going to support the teacher? One of the things, and then also there's the financial aspect of it. When Muhammad Fatih, when he opened up Istanbul, one of the first things that he did was open up the Grand Bazaar. That was one of the first things that he did. Because in order to, people need that in terms of to support community. And for instance, the soup kitchens and these other types of things were established. And mashallah, we forget that. And we have this thing of, for some of us in our history, when we come to knowledge and fold of Islam, we throw out our past experiences. The baby out with the bathwater. And again, these things that we all know. Every single one of us knows this. We have built communities in the past. There is absolutely no reason why we can't do that now. And inshallah, if the Muslims among African Americans are able to show brotherhood, inshallah, this can also help the wider community, particularly among African Americans, in terms of we are able to deal and to guide and to give a vision for, the crimes and these types of things, and give these youth a purpose. Because the society has failed, and we know that, and we know that we have the answer. And so, what are we going to do? Do we just sit on the sideline? And I guess the third thing is that once you think about the grave, I mean, you're going to be asked what we did, but we're also going to be asked what we didn't do. And this is one of it. I don't want to be asked that I didn't do when I had the ability to do it.
Um, go ahead, Imam Faheem.
Yeah, I have a question, Sheikh. Tonight's topic is talking about connecting our community. So it's timely that you're on, alhamdulillah, and we appreciate you. And my question is, what kind of numbers do you think, ideally, that would take, to move down to your community and like really get this off, and where we start seeing some type of significant progress? I've had this talk with plenty of people, not just Muslims, but just, Black people. And one of the things that came up is like, with all of this stuff about gentrification and, other people coming back into these, areas where we live. Like, we need another great migration going the other way. We need another great migration going the other way. I'm convinced of it. So, like, what kind of if we were talking numbers, like, because you sound like you got something really nice going down, and you've come really highly recommended, and your reputation precedes you. What kind of numbers would you say to get something down there really started, where we could see like a significant growth in it? What kind of numbers would you need down there?
You're talking
and
about
what would draw people there? What's the incentive?
Well, the incentive in terms of, let's say, Memphis, and in particular, what we're doing here is that you also, for instance, have in Memphis, you have Midtown Mosque with Sheikh Hamza, who is also down here. You also have the Wharf Dean community that is also down here. And so what we have here is we have the pieces in place to really build strong community, particularly in the urban and inner cities that you don't necessarily have. The thing about the South, and particularly about Memphis, Memphis is a big town, meaning that people, there's only certain people of movers and shakers and things like that. Memphis is also an affordable place to live. The things that we're talking about building, if you're talking in particularly a school, we're talking about having a boarding school from grade 6 to 12. Inshallah, this is in collaboration with the United American Muslim Association, who have 33 boarding schools across the country. So this is something that's quite different. And also talking about having the pre-K to fifth grade, and then having a seminary. And inshallah, we're working on having we're working with Al Azhar and developing a relationship with that, so it would be inshallah accredited for that. The thing is that what would bring people here is again trying to build a community, and that's affordable. But the thing is that for me, I mean that would be good, but I think we need to strengthen communities where they are, and helping them out and supporting them in that type of way. Not everybody is going to make a migration. So, for instance, if something that we in Memphis can help in terms of helping Camden, then why can't we do that? One of the things that I remember the Somali community did some years ago, and I'm pretty much sure that they did it. There was like 4 or 5 different cities, and so they decided to, for instance, for 1 month, there would be all 4 of them would raise money for one particular city. So it wouldn't be like the donations thing in terms of 10,000. They would basically raise $1 million, and then the next time it would be the next city. I think we need to do something like that. I think we need to communicate with each other, see what we're doing, how things complement each other, and then help each other fill the gaps. Putting that down on paper and then planning it. I think we need to have a financial team from each center, and then these people are talking to each other. There's a brother that you all know. I'm not going to mention his name, but for instance, he was talking about supplying African American communities with fish and with coffee beans, and therefore people could open up, for instance, fisher markets and these types of things. It's important that we don't live on donation. We need to have developed businesses that support our efforts. We need to have grant writers who support our efforts, and then we also have to be involved in the city and these types of things, and see where there's opportunities for us to gain from them. The other thing in terms of in terms of Memphis, it offers an opportunity. In terms of Memphis is a predominantly African American city, but like I said, the Black Power movement didn't come to Memphis, so it is it's behind in that way, in terms of that there's a certain type of passiveness that's there, that is not aggressive in terms of community building. Even though there was an African American mayor some time ago, and then recently, even with that, I found out that the person who pushed him and the person who opened up the way for him was a Muslim brother in the 1990s. That he was the catalyst for Memphis to get its first African American mayor. So there's an opportunity if people are aggressive, if people have ideas. This is a place where you can come, and inshallah, you'll be able to accomplish quite a bit in terms of business, in terms of dawah, even in terms of affecting public policy.
I just want to mention to the other imams, I unmuted my microphone purposely because I notice if we're all muted and he's only talking, it gets choppy. So that's why I unmuted.
Did I answer your question, or did I left something?
No, that was good. Okay. Memphis is ready for us, B.
Well, here's a question. So, and I want us to be, really like, what, really honest to what it takes. What were some of your biggest challenges and obstacles that you had to face and overcome in building your community and trying to get where you at today and possibly moving forward? What were some of the biggest challenges?
I think The biggest challenges is you know, people who um, you know, I guess the crab in the barrel thing. That, that was a challenge. But mashallah, we have life lessons. And, as I mentioned earlier, my family was part of the Moore Science. And so I knew about in terms of an organization and in terms of, how an organization collapses, and also about the issue of sustainability. And so they were positive. And so I started looking back in terms of the Moore Science and, my history, my family history, and things like this. And the thing is that you have to persevere. You have to keep forward. And so you'll have people, African Americans, and they were not able to move forward. They weren't able to move forward because their paradigm, their mindset would not allow them to. And I still encounter them. But like I said, the thing is that inshallah, you have to have the correct intention. And I think one of the dangerous things for me personally is that you can't proceed and think, well, I'm going to show them, because at that point, then it turns into something else. And you have to do it, inshallah, and make sure that all the time are checking your intentions and things like that. The other thing is that, um, you know, alhamdulillah, because of my own personal history, I didn't have an issue with moving forward, whether someone supported me or not. And I wasn't waiting on the support of people that I knew, or friends, or so-called friends, because it was that important in terms of, again, reminding myself in terms of that. Like, for instance, the first building, I was very confident that the building. And so what if I hadn't did that? I mean, people were telling me about, it was in the ghetto, and, somebody was calling me and telling me, Hassan, that the building's in the ghetto. And, well, you just want to teach black people. I s so I encountered things like that, and it just pressed on. So you'll have that. And again, it's the South. And so you have prejudice against Muslims.
I encountered things like that. And
Can you still hear me? Okay. Um, so you'll have that. Like I said, you have the crabs in the barrels, and there's this the sort of the bureaucracy and that type of thing. But mashallah, I met people along the way that encouraged me. And I give you like a personal experience. It's not necessarily about this, but I drew from that. When I was traveling in Morocco, I left the United States when I was 22 years old, and I only had a one-way ticket. And so, I graduated from college, and I was in Morocco, and I had tried to get into schooling and things like that. And so I stopped into this masjid. So this one guy, he came up to me, and he was saying, who are you? And I told him, and he says, well, why are you doing this? I said, well, I want to learn about Islam. And so he told me, if you want to learn about Islam, actually, you should go back to America. Why are you here, putting yourself through all of these things and all of these troubles and things like that? So he left. Then there was a man next to me who heard this, and he told me, he said, don't listen to him. Keep going. And this is your intention, then you keep going with it. And so that's what I drew from things like that, in terms of that if something is true, and we're not talking about me trying to purchase a house. We're talking about trying to build a community. We're trying to implement that part and obligation of our religion. And it is lacking in a lot of different places. Some because of resources, and again, some because um, they don't allow themselves to think in that manner. And it became, and it is critical that we achieve these things, because nobody else is going to do it. If we don't do it, then who's going to do it? And then where have we left our kids? You know, we see the Muslim, well, the people with Muslim names, these athletes and these types of things. A lot of them were, have Muslim parents, but are very far from, in terms of what is apparent, being part of the Muslim community. And by the way, this is something that I think that we need to do in terms of reaching out to some of these people and presenting them projects that we have, because this is a part of a resource. And the thing is that we can't afford to leave things on the table, meaning people. We have dismissed people, and we need to go back into the community. We need to assist people. We need to be good stewards and good examples.
When you mentioned as far as obstacles, crabs in the barrel, we often find that a lot of times, among us, usually the crabs in the barrel look just like us. A lot of times, sad to say.
Absolutely.
Was that the case in your situation?
Yes. Well, it was also that, and then there was the crabs who were ordered to do that. So there were those who were generally scared, and then there were those who were acting upon others, or felt that they were acting upon others' positions.
Go ahead, man.
So, in terms of cooperating with other communities, what areas do you think that are most essential for us? And really, I have a high or a great concern for African, and you know that already about me, for African American communities, because I believe that if we ever cooperate, work together, build sustainable institutions and communities and Masjid and businesses, that we cooperate and do that, we could be a catalyst for the unification of the Ummah. Just from our strategic location in the world or in the global society. And if we learn to do that, but what happens is I see that many of us, we're afraid to break the shackles of religious slavery. I put it that way. That's the term I use for it. And to the extent that others have dictated to us how we understand and implement Islam. There was a time you came up from your background in the Moorish Science Temple. I came up from a background in the Ansar Law community. And funny, Tenweer was just in Brooklyn, shout out to Tenweer, and he took me back to my youth, which was like, I remember when we was building. In terms of doctrine, in terms, like you said, we wasn't there, but we threw out the baby with the bathwater because we were builders, right? We were very keen on empowering ourselves and our community and sustaining that over long periods of time. And then when we got Ahl Sunnah, we got also slavery with it. We left our independence and gave it to someone else who didn't have our best interests at heart, and it's clear. The evidence of that is that we're having this conversation. Had others had our interests, even while doing their concerns, then I think we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would actually be further ahead because we would have had cooperation from others. So at this stage of the game, I'm personally not interested in cooperating with anyone until I learn to cooperate with my own.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work with no one else, but
Yeah.
my priority, my concern is to get our people on course for success. And even the comments that you heard, and I've heard similar comments, why are you doing that for them?
Mm-hmm.
As if them are not a part of Al-Ummatul Muhammadiyah. So my thing is, my question to you in relating to that is, what are the essential ingredients that we need to understand as a people, as leaders, because all of us are leaders. We have communities, we're doing stuff. What do you think are some essential elements that we need to do to initiate and sustain and further that cooperation that you're talking about?
Well, I mean, we have to define, the key principles, and in terms of what is it that we want to do. We want to spread Islam into into the let's say into the African American community. Okay, so then how do you go about doing that? The other thing is that you have things that are needed in the African American community in particular, and so those needs and those services need to be provided. I mean, one of the things, for instance, there's a reentry program that I was looking into from Iman out of Chicago, and then there's a brother in Atlanta, and so he's part of that. And so, to give you an example of like what you're talking about, is so I gave him a call. He's an African American brother, and I says, "Well, we're interested to do a reentry program." So what did he do? He sent me the whole information about it, how to set it up, and everything immediately. That's what he did. And so now I have the blueprint, alhamdulillah, in order to do a reentry program. And he's been doing it for a couple of years. And so he said I can give him a call and he'll advise me along the way. So those are the types of things. Let's say if Camden wanted to do that or somebody else wanted to do that, then we share that information. And the other thing is that we have to connect our people. For instance, it's not enough for, let's say, the four of us, but let's say I have a social media team. Okay, so then my social media team should be able to work with the others from your all's community in terms of supporting you, in terms of advising the best way, or maybe and also vice versa. So there needs to be a flow of information and support. And the other thing is like I said, inshallah, you have to do the financial thing. Um, in terms of investment, and not only, for instance, in America, but in other places that we can do that. We have those types of resources. We have the resources and we have the pieces. Now we have to, inshallah, just work forward. And it's not like I said. Each and every one of us knows that African Americans build communities. You know what I'm saying? In the most difficult of times. They built schools in the most difficult of times. Okay, we are Muslim. So we are more able, inshallah, than even those in the past to do these things. And I think we have to leave, mashallah, may Allah uh, give them, inshallah, bless them, and inshallah, they move forward what they want to do. But the thing is that there has to be like a separation in terms of those who want to move forward and those who want to sort of stay behind, and wait for whatever. Um, this can't wait, and it has to move forward. One of the things that I watched in this recent series was the Ertugrul series, um, regarding the Ottomans. And so you had two brothers, and so the Ottomans were between the Christians and the Byzantines, and so there was a one group, or let's say there was one brother, and so all he wanted to do was to have peace in between the groups, and he just wanted to raise goats. That's all that he wanted to do. Just be a goat herder, live in peace. Why are we antagonizing both of these people? The other one was Ertugrul, and his position was we have to establish a community. We have to establish a state and all what that means in order to preserve our religion and give safety to our children and generations afterwards. So what would happen if the goat herder won? Well, where there would not be an Ottoman Empire. There just simply wouldn't be. And I mean, I can understand the tendencies of people to want to play it safe and things like that. I understand that. But this is not part of our religion. You know what I'm saying? We can't look at any period from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam onward where Muslims, sat back, kicked it, and expected to get results. How did Islam come into Africa? How did it go to Pakistan and all these various places? People made struggle. People made plans. People built institutions. People built communities. And, for those, I mean, like I said, for people who need for people who need permission to do things, mashallah, I wish them the best and these types of things, but this is not meeting the requirement that is upon us. Alhamdulillah, we love them for the sake of Allah, but it's not meeting the requirement that is needed at this particular time. And it's upon us, those who recognize that, to move forward and just simply implement it. And inshallah, we'll be successful.
Like, we have a whole lot of people that's not leaders, but that are supporters. They are, really, looking for guidance.
Yeah.
So what advice or what suggestions that you would give to the listening audience of how they can help move this ball down the court?
Well, if someone is in a community, the thing is that often what the case is that people bring problems to leaders or ideas and expect the leader himself to handle that. And so he has, let's say, 10 things, and then they bring the 11th and the 12th thing. I would say that, inshallah, they need to discuss with the leaders about an idea and say, you know what, Imam, this is what I'm proposing. And inshallah, I'm going to do this myself, and we'll check with you. And like that, I see a need. So you see a need and you fulfill that need, and not relying and waiting on the Imam and these types of things. I'm not saying that you just go off tangent, but in working in concert with the Imam. I see that there's a need regarding this. Inshallah, I'm going to dedicate myself to this. I'm going to dedicate my time, my resources, and my money to this. So that's part of being a community. It's not, this religion and this life is not one of standing on the side, being a cheerleader. You need to be in the game. Suit up, get out on that field and do some blocking, hitting, or running. And otherwise, again, and you have people like that in any community. I mean, you have people who just want to complain, and then you listen to their complaints, and then you say, okay, what is the solution to this? And the thing is, for me, is that we can disagree regarding strategy. We can't disagree on objective. I will take criticism regarding strategy, but the objective is
Hold up. This put his statement in the box. Say that again. This is important. Say that again. We can agree.
I mean, we
can disagree.
We can disagree on strategies,
right,
but we cannot disagree on the objective.
Okay, we can disagree on strategies, but we cannot disagree on the objective. Could everyone put that in the chat box? That's something that I want us all to keep in mind. We can disagree on strategy, but we cannot disagree on the objective. No. We can disagree on strategy, right? Okay, good. There you go. Everyone copy it and put it up. That is one we all need to have in our file. We need that in our notebook. We can disagree on strategies, but we cannot disagree on the objective. Everybody got it? Fill it up. This is a way, Sidi Hassan, Saidi, that we keep everybody on the same page.
Absolutely.
Right? We get something that we can cling on. Sometimes that's the most powerful thing. One strong word that we all can revolve around and drill it with each other. Right?
Yeah.
So could you expand on that from your understanding? That concept, that idea that you put there.
Well, the thing is that you have, for instance, for me, I talk about several things. One is like the kuliya and what that means in terms of the masjid and the social services from that, and then fard kifaya. So you may have someone, and so they let's say that they disagree with that, but then don't offer any type of alternative. And to me, what does that mean then? It means that you are not understanding the objective, because you can say, if somebody says, okay, I agree with the objective, but how you're going about it is not in a good manner. I can take that, but I'm not going to take not a path to the objective. You have to show me a path to the objective. Okay, well, I can work with that, and you may have a better idea than that. But the objective, it cannot change. And for us now, the objective is building communities. And so if people are talking about, other things in that world, that's not part of what we're trying to do. And because it has to be sustainable. I mean, we're at a critical point here in terms of that, because we have experienced what we've experienced, like the things that you touched on. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we've gone through that. We've gone through this type of experience, and now, okay, now what we need to gain from what we have learned and implement it. Whereas for younger people, they don't have the same fire that we may have. You know what I'm saying? Our kids are born as Muslim. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain comfort in the type of thing that they have. We understand what it means to be pioneers, and that's critical. It's critical in order to establish institutions. People who are comfortable are not building institutions. They're not building sustainable communities because they don't see the urgency of it. And we have to see the urgency of now. And that goes, without distraction.
So, one of the things that we're working on, and that was that was one of the main objectives of the African American Islamic Summit, and we're going to do it again soon. I'm working on several things, and I'm weighing which one is the more viable, right? Mm-hmm. That one has proven to work, and we had some challenges, which is why we backed up, to let those challenges dissipate and then come back again, which I believe was a smart decision, because sometimes problems work themselves out when they're put at the forefront, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy to say, I want to do Hassan's job, I want to do Imam Naeem's job, or I want to do Imam, do I got to actually do it? It looks good when you're not having to drive the car. Right. I'm in the side, hey, would you slam on the brakes? You're moving to, because you're not driving, right? But, so sometimes when you give someone the steering wheel, they'll learn that it's not as easy as it looked from the passenger seat. And then they're more inclined to cooperate. Mm-hmm. So that's what I learned from those challenges. And I think we've come full circle, and we can continue the path. We just like paused but never stopped. We just, okay, and let's do another thing. So that is something that I'm looking. But what I'm looking for now is to start to have these discussions publicly to bring the support from our people, right? Because a lot of times we'll have these discussions among ourselves, but people are looking for these types of initiatives, but they don't know where to find them.
Right.
We haven't established platforms that we could cooperate with. So many are working, but a lot of times they're working in their own isolated bubble, right? Or their own space, which doesn't help the masses connect to these ideas and even have the opportunity to cooperate. So what we're going to be looking forward to doing over, the next few weeks and months is like really, really working this out and finding around the country stakeholders in what we're talking about, stakeholders in the objective, because the objective is one thing, but who's going to invest in that objective? And the investment isn't always by money. Sometimes it's by ideas, sometimes it's by resources, sometimes it's by physical labor, sometimes it's just by spreading the word, which brings that information to others. Like I always say this when we do programs. Sometimes we do programs and we ourselves don't have the ability to pull it off like we want. But I always have this concept, open the door, Allah will send someone who will help you get the next stage. Right? Sometimes you got to, make a way for people to assist you. As, one wise old elder told me, he said, people want to help you, but they ain't going to fight you to help. Right? They want to help. So you got to facilitate the route for them to assist you. And I think this is one of the things that we're going to try to work. And we got some good brothers, man, who are not good brothers and sisters who are not burnt out yet. Even though they've been in a struggle, they're just looking, they believe in the mission.
Yeah.
Right? They believe, and they're just like, yo, who still got the energy to keep going? I'm with you. I can't go like I was when I was in my 20s or 30s or even 40s, but I still got a little left in my tank. So long as you can keep going, I'm with you. And I've received in the last 2 days phone calls from many people like that. Like, yo, Imam, I see what you're doing. I'm with you. Where do I get in? So we need to start really showing them, here's the objective and here's how we're going to get there.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, we've been working on this low power radio station for a while. So alhamdulillah, technically just today, we finished that part of it. So what that means is that we want to be tying. We have websites now. We have the low power radio station, which broadcasts in the Memphis area to about 50, actually to 100,000 people. So what we're in need of, for instance, is programming, and then that ties into our social media. So basically, inshallah, now what we have is this huge megaphone. So we can publicize or support basically anything that we want to do. So in terms of Islamic classes, in terms of things of how to do this, or computer coding and type of thing, then we have now, alhamdulillah, this huge megaphone in order to do that. And so to let the imams here know that inshallah we are here if you need to, as much as our ability allows us to promote programs and these types of things. And so like I said, we're here to help.
And I'll talk to you offline, but I hope if you are, we're having a big gathering, tongue twister, right? This weekend here in Atlantic City. And there's going to be a lot of people. And I think if you have the ability to make it, I don't know if you're, these last minute quick movements, but it would be a good networking opportunity for you because a lot of the people we're talking about will be there. So, and we're going to,
Saturday.
it's Saturday all
Okay.
day, but they'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's, in Atlantic, and it's right across the street from the Masjid. But part of the things we want to do is not going to be lecture heavy or teaching heavy. We're going to have some teaching. We're going to have these things. But the real purpose is to come together as a family and cooperate with one another. So we're looking several hundred people right now and growing, especially every time I start talking, it's more and more and more. But we need that opportunity so we can really sit down and powwow, and see what we're working with. And since we're there for that, then from there we can talk, we can see what we need to do. Then we can say, you know what? These are resources. Let's how to plug this stuff in. Let's see how we can, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see how because we have enough man and woman power that will be there to do or initiate most anything we're trying to do, right? And these are all people who came for that purpose, to be a part of a community, a part of a family. They're coming for that. So I think it is a great opportunity. It's relaxed environment. So where we're just, now there's no pressure. You can just indulge and there's no expectations except to be a family, to gather, to be a community, to show love for one another. And I think this is, especially after the pandemic, everybody been locked up. So we getting the, So inshallah, that is something that, part of the leadership, you got to make these last minute calls. They happen like that. I was telling my wife earlier today, she said, why don't you take some time and make sure? I said, no, I used to play basketball, right?
Yeah.
And I never ran the plays the way the coach called them. I just see the court, and you might get a pass for me coming from behind the back, through the legs, right? It's never going to be no straight, corny bounce pass. You need to pay attention because I want the pass to lead to a basket. I'm not forgetting the objective. So if I'm going to throw you a pass and all you're going to do is have to throw another pass, and I see a pass that opens you right to the basket, which pass you think I'm going to throw? I'm going to throw the one that's going to get the basket, right?
Yeah.
So you may not be prepared for that. That's why all the time you need to be flowing. Right? You need to be loose, man. Catch the ball.
Well, the thing is, you mentioned in terms of, people being relaxed and a sense of freedom and things like that. So hopefully also we will express that in our discussions.
Yes.
From you mentioned about the shackles. So,
well, here's that is. I think those shackles, see, books, right? I gotta have it this way. The pass is gonna come from behind the back. Sometimes be ready. And don't be butterfingers, right? Catch the ball. Nah.
Right.
Isn't that what made Brent Favre, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, didn't that make them good quarterbacks? They can throw under any kind of condition.
Well, let's stay with the basketball. What about Oscar Robertson?
He threw some fancy passes here and there, right?
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But so here, my point though is, I think the shackles is because we haven't produced strong leaders, right? Leaders who are fearless. When they see leaders who are fearless, they're going to come. I've noticed that because a lot of us, this is all new territory. So we get like the deer in the headlights.
Right.
And freeze. So we need someone to like, come on, we going. And if enough of us do that, then the others will come. And I think that's what we're waiting. And believe me, especially us, it's a whole lot of us, CD, a whole lot of us that are waiting to do this work. And they've already doing it. And they're moving in the areas where we were normally captive. They're moving and ready to go. Mm-hmm. And we need all of us to start, listen, come on, we together, let's go. Let's do it, right? And every time they see an additional one who's serious, who's actually building, who's actually doing something, it's giving them more confidence. To see us together on this platform has boosted the himma of so many of us that were just sitting because they're watching. They might not say nothing. They're there. They're paying attention. They might even wait till it's all over and then watch, so you don't know they were watching. They're watching. No, seriously. I mean, okay. Right? And that's good.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to be left behind, right? And sometimes people they're not going to join until they see it successful because they're afraid. And that's natural, right? They're usually the ones who make the best on their investment are the ones who invest first, right? Mm-hmm, but the ones who wait, they still may make some, but they're not going to make like the original investors. Those original investors, because they took that chance. Right. You know, life has that. They took the chance and they made it, right? So, but there's always room for those who come later, you know, to join and still make even a bigger company. So I just think, I know I can just look at the numbers and know we're ready. We see it. We are dying for this. And having this grassroots movement, nobody's famous. Well, Imam Naim is famous. I'm sorry. But right, he's real famous, right?
Yes.
Most of us is regular, everyday brothers.
We're famous in my house here.
Right. You co-famous in the house, right? But this is encouraging to look at African-American men talking about building. It's very, very encouraging, even for myself, you know, because sometimes in our individual communities, like all of us, there's a lot of struggle. But when you see others who appreciate that struggle, even if it ain't those directly around you, it is a support. But what I also like to see us do is that we support each other on the ground to encourage the people on the ground, right? So that we take trips to Memphis. Y'all take trips to Pittsburgh and to Camden, to Atlantic City, to Las Vegas, to different communities and help build those communities on the ground. Right. Because, you know, as a leader, you know, sometimes it's rough. You are trying to do, but if we learn to support, like you said, those group fundraisers, we'll do much better. And by doing that also, we show we trust one another, right?
Yeah.
It ain't just about me. I want to see you successful, right? And that's why on this platform, we try to share with each other. We have one condition, that's it. That we try to maintain the correct creed and methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And that's a big umbrella. It's not narrow. It encompasses a lot. And there are differences within that, but one common objective, maintaining al-aqidatu sahiha wa manhaj al-sunnah. That's where that objective we don't compromise. But the details of, you know, we can work with that, right? So that's us. And I think enough of us that can do that.
So the traveling that we'll be doing, that'll be called like the Bean Pie Circuit?
No, Black Tablighi Jamaat.
No, that'll be called. That's called.
Black Tablighi Jamaat.
No, that's called Bingo Long and the Traveling All Stars.
Okay now.
I'm Bingo Long. Right. Hey, man, my man, I heard you compare yourself to these basketball players, man. But the difference between them and you, where's your footage at, man?
Wait a minute. Since
where your footage at about all these fancy passes? Where your footage at, man?
Y'all want to hear a story?
We can go see Brett Favre, Oscar Robinson. Where your footage at, man?
When I was playing basketball, they didn't even have footage. Right? But let me tell you a story. I got some footage for y'all, right? So, you know, Atlantic City and Camden has always been a rival, right? Y'all know that, right? Mm-hmm. And Camden always used to beat the pants off Atlantic City. That was part of it too.
The breaks, cuz.
Until our turn came. We came to Camden. What's the school? What's that?
Camden High. Don't act like
that's the high school. This was our junior high. What was this? Where y'all had all the men with beards, right?
No, that was y'all, man. Y'all had jokers in the 8th grade supposed to be playing NCAA tournament.
He was in the 8th grade before there was a Sunda. He had a linear this long. Right? We played Camden. We beat them so bad, right? They flat our tires on our bus, bust the windows out. You remember they used to have those big belts in the 80s with Dice and the big names and all that. Y'all remember that hip hop era? Yeah. They were swinging those belts out the stand.
Weapons, cuz.
But we beat the pants off them. And that year we went to the state championship. So I don't know what year was that. 83 or 82. It's recorded. It's in the papers. But back then there was no internet. I mean, there wasn't even cell phones then. Wow, we came a long way. There was no internet. There was no cell phones. And poor black folks didn't have a VCR. But that's my Camden story.
You better stick to it because I'm going to find that footage.
Yeah, but I never forget. They flat the tires, bust out all the windows, and was swinging those belts on the court. Mm. Camden, sore losers.
Yeah, that's true.
Mashallah. So, yeah, I mean, so let's get it done, man. Let's get it done. We got to close out. Because it was my grip. Y'all going unless y'all want to go. If y'all where y'all at. We usually go to 9, but it's getting close to my grip for us. If y'all have some closing points or some questions from the people.
Yeah, I was about to say, I saw someone say they had a question. I don't think they typed it yet, though.
Yeah, somebody said they had a question that was off topic, but I was about to say, no, everything's on topic. You know, while we got the platform, it's all a go.
Yeah, it's nothing off topic. It's Black Imams Roundtable.
Hey, why are we waiting for the question to come?
We get a little raw sometimes. I guess you could feel that, right? But it's us. You know what I mean? It's a part of us.
Keep it real. Yeah, right.
Yeah, while we waiting for the question to come, while we talking and I'm listening to y'all, and we talking about, we didn't say the phrase yet, but what we talking about is what a lot of people have dubbed, doing for self, and autonomy, right? And I think a lot of times we fail when we don't incorporate that or recognize that or act by it, and it reminded me of the letter that the Prophet ﷺ had written to An-Najashi, the Ethiopian king. And in his invitation to him, one of the things that he invited him to was al-muwalata ala ta'ati, muwala, which is a comprehensive word, like it means continuous governance. It means, wilaya, friendship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, continuity. It's a very comprehensive word. So he invited him to that. And then even after that, he invited him and his forces, he said, "Atuka wa junudaka ila Allah azza wa jal." I invite you and your forces, and he didn't talk like that to no other leader that he had letters written to, and recognize him and his forces. And subhanAllah, when you write to a leader, right? When you write to a leader, you're not just writing because as an individual, he's representing somebody. And in Islam, An-Najashi represents the black person, the black leadership. And he invited him to Islam, and he's the only one that accepted Islam out of all of the major rulers that he had written those letters to. And you see throughout the history that Black Africa Islamically was always autonomous. They always governed themselves, even to the extent when Askia Muhammad Torre had made a famous Hajj and sat with Imam Suyuti and other people in Egypt. They named him Amirul Mu'minin fi Bilad Sudan, the commander of the faithfuls in Black Africa and the Black lands. And so I'm saying this to say that I personally believe that us doing for ourselves without any bosses or Mr. Charlies, lording over us is part of the prophetic mandate, for us as a people. And you can see it consistently throughout the history. Anytime, we submit to being up under someone else, it always don't work out for us. It's always problematic. We always end up being someone's slave. But when we start governing and working for our own best interests under our own leadership, you see prosperity. So I just wanted, this conversation just brought me back to the letter that the Prophet ﷺ wrote to Najashi, the Ethiopian king, and the implications in that letter. I just wanted to say that while we was waiting for the questions to come up.
There was another question on here. I got to address this one. It says, what is AC compared to Camden? My sentiments exactly. What is AC compared to Camden? I'm trying to find out too.
An-Na'im wal-Adhab. Atlantic City, Medinatul Na'im. Camden, Medinatul Adhab. الفرق بين Atlantic City والCamden نعيم والعذاب. No, I love Camden. Me and the Imam of the Boom Bap. I love Camden. We always supporting one another. Right up the road, bang, bang, bang for years.
The land of the Gucci sneakers down there, man.
Did you get the question?
Yeah, they asked. That was way off top. I put it in the chat.
Did somebody get it?
Yeah.
Y'all answered it?
No. We
What
can
was
answer. I think he said he had an argument with somebody or a disagreement that he was telling them a law exists without a place, and they said, "Where's my proof?" and hit me with a verse of the Quran. Well, I will answer that. If you're not equipped to be ready to discuss that, then you should just say, I don't know, let me find out. Maybe you should avoid disagreements if you're not ready to discuss the Aqidah.
In brief, though, they say, where's your proof? Tell them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that He is Al-Awwal, Huwa Al-Awwal, He is the first. Al-Awwal, the first, means the one who has no beginning. So the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala existed before anything else. And the Prophet said in the authentic hadith related by Imam al-Bukhari, كَانَ اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٌ غَيْرُ. Allah existed and there was nothing else. Which isn't insane that what? Allah was existing and there was nothing else. There was no throne, there was no place, there was no direction, there was no time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change, because change is the most significant thing of a creation that is a creation. So that everything that changes is a creation, and Allah is not a creation, hence Allah exists without a place. And if they need more, there is more. Oh, what was the letter topic?
I think you're talking about the letter that Imam Naeem was mentioning, if I'm not mistaken.
This is
writing's not.
You're on mute, Imam. There's another question, though. It says, if people outside of the Muslim community and non-Muslims wants to support, how receptive can we be to their help?
Is that question to anyone?
Well, now that you mention it, Sheikh, you got it. we want all the wisdom we can get while we got you.
Well, I mean, for us, we have different partnerships. Like we're developing a community garden and farm, and this is in working with a Christian community. Because I mean, the guy, mashallah, he's an expert in the field of farming and also getting like the USDA, the USDA approval and those types of things. And mashallah, you never know where these conversations end up. I mean, for instance, me and him, the point that we start from and end with is actually about tawakkul. And the things which you find about farmers is that they understand this concept very, very well, because of their experience. And they may have a crop that's destroyed, or sometimes things happen that in contrary to how they had wanted them to happen, and they have to learn how to be patient. And so this person, he has those type of qualities. And mashallah, I'll give you an example. So alhamdulillah, we were moving forward with things, and then things sort of opened up in a way that surprised him. And then he turned to me and he said, this I think this project is blessed. And then he said, I think if I mess over you, I'm going to suffer by God for it. And so these types, if you have these partnerships, proper partnerships, it can open up doors. And inshallah, it'll open up a way to for dawah and to open up people's hearts. So we don't need to leave people. We don't need to leave food on the table. We need to have relationships, but proper relationships that benefit that benefit the Muslim community, and inshallah also benefit the people that we're trying to help and serve.
Alhamdulillah. I would just like to add to that because, a lot of us, I don't actually know where the idea came from, but a lot of Muslims think that it's not permissible for Muslims to work with non-Muslims. And, the Wathiqatul Medina, the treaty or the Constitution of Medina that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam instituted during his time when he made the hijrah from Mecca to Medina, is a testament to that. It was a constitution that recognized and established a living situation and a working relationship, not only between the Muhajirun and the Ansar, who were made of the Ansar made of the Aus and the Khazraj tribes, but even the other Jewish tribes that were living there. They were recognized, and it was a working relationship in that constitution. And even us, like our small garden in here in Pittsburgh, our small Medina garden, it was a lot of non-Muslims that helped us get that garden off the ground. And whenever we're fully functioning, we have, it's not just, we don't say only Muslims can come. No, we work with other community organizations, and to help to grow our garden. And and so I think a lot of us, we have to get out of that idea that it's like for Muslims only, or only Muslims can come. And I'm not saying the question is even implying that, but a lot of Muslims do think like that. And this shouldn't be the case. Their interaction with us in these different projects is dawah in and of itself, especially if we're controlling the table and we establishing the parameters and everything. That interaction, that work in the garden, in the farm, the food pantries, and all of the other activities we're doing, that's giving them a reason and an opportunity to observe us and interact with us. And that's the real dawah right there.
Yeah. I see there's a question regarding financial sustainability. The question is for a community, should that be done individually or under community name? I think both. I would suggest both. I mean, you need business people to come together in terms of, for instance, supporting the community in terms of like the Masjid and that type of thing. But then also there should be a way that the community itself has business to also to support itself. we've gotten to the point now we have to get beyond just having donations, because it's not enough. It's not enough for, to do the things that are needed to be done. So I would say that we need to do that on both levels at the same time.
Also, Sidi Hassan, Malik asked a question earlier. I think you really did answer it. You addressed it in passing, but he asked a question way in the beginning of the program. It says, Brother Hassan, are you familiar with Imam Hamza Abdul Malik and the Midtown Masjid community in Memphis?
Very much so. With Sheikh Hamza, with Ustad Ashir, and with Director Malik Shah. Very much so. We go to their programs and we support them, and they're our brothers in Memphis.
Alhamdulillah. Did you see any more questions?
No, I didn't see any more. If there are any more, take a moment to post them. And if you don't have any questions, use that link there, support and donate.
How much did we raise so far?
I'm not sure.
Nobody giving you no money, Otis.
Our weekly minimum is 500. As Imam Amin says, if everybody do a little people don't have to do a lot. Is that how you say it?
No, yeah, I'll give you an example. So, as we're doing things for this cookout, right? Trying to get, how it always works. All the work get put on a few people, and they do all the stuff. And they look all nice, but a handful of people did all that work. And by the time it's to have the festivities, they burn out because they've been working weeks or days, and depending, late night, you know how it go, right? So we had to go get some drinks because I was being hassled about drinks. When there's all these people, why I got to be hassled about drinks, right? So I had to go in the truck and go get some drinks. When there's all these people, why I got to be the one to go get the drinks now? Right? So I took, one of the brothers with me, and what would have taken me a few hours to do was at 1 hour because he helped, right? Mm-hmm. And my back don't hurt either, right? And we got it done quickly. Someone put the truck, someone drive, someone do this, someone carry, finish, right? And now everyone benefit. Then now somebody's going to take that from the masjid, take it across the street. Somebody going to put the ice. And if everybody do something, nobody got to do all of that. And we also have to be willing to allow others, to do the work too. We got to be willing to allow others to participate. So long as they're not harming, they don't have to be perfect. One of our teachers, he told us, he said, listen, try someone else's idea sometimes. And if it doesn't work, alhamdulillah, you learn that it doesn't work and you try the other ideas, but give everybody a chance to participate.
Right.
So I'm giving you a chance to participate. We only got $175 tonight. To do all these things, we got to be honest, Sayyid Hassan, can we do what we talking about with $175 a week? Huh? Hassan, you with us?
Yes, I was looking at some of the comments. Yes, no, 175.
Yeah.
Inshallah, that's part of the way.
But that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. We gotta be honest here. Can we?
That's on the smooth, right? I've been peeping them all night.
This is the Black Roundtable. You can't do that. We don't. No politically correct. you know, brother, I got a good opinion. I know you got a good opinion. That's not what I asked about. I asked the reality, right? No, we need to do more, right? Honestly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So all of us do a little bit
take
more.
It seriously. Yeah, we have to
Right
take it
now,
seriously.
if everyone did $5, we would be way past our goal. If everyone just did $5, we would be past our goal because of the number. So if we just asking everybody to do $5, there are among us who can do $100, right?
Absolutely.
Between here and YouTube,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's easy breezy.
So there is a responsibility to do the work. And it's something that we should be natural. Put it in your bills, just like Comcast or Netflix or, you know, whatever other stuff you got going on. Community building is a part of my bills, right? Community building in my house is a major part of my bills. Quite sure it's in your houses too, right? Because you're doing a lot of the work, so you gotta be a part of it, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
So we're no better than no one else. So everyone else can do the same. Maybe not at the same level, but everybody can do a part. So, and that's something we can't. We got to go back to the Ansar days when it comes to that. What that mean if you don't get that money, Imam Faheem?
At 3 o'clock outside.
When Friday Juma, before Juma come, you better have your money or else. No, seriously, we got work to do. It takes money. And other communities understand that. So other communities understand that. It's going to be all rhetoric until we put our money where our mouth is. I mean, that's real.
Alhamdulillah, look how Allah sent it. The brother Abdul Qadir said he'll match the 175 tonight.
Okay, and then Mati's going to come and match that 175.
Man, oh, look how it works, man.
And Nisa is going to match that 175.
Shoot.
And there it is. So all we just waiting for them to confirm, and then we can log out.
Bada bing, bada bang.
Right?
Alhamdulillah.
And then it's easy. It's easy. But other than that, we just talking. We ain't that poor. We got money. Ask Walmart. We got money. We got money. They know we have money. And we can't be afraid to mention that, because what it takes, it takes. That's real. The bill collectors in the masjid are not going to stop. They're not going to say, I understand y'all don't got no money. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, you don't have any money? You don't have any services either. Right? That's real.
Yeah.
So, Khadija says she's helping, Naeem.
Yeah, I see her down there.
All right, so we got some closing out words. Sidi Hassan, you have some closing out things to say. We're approaching the 9 o'clock mark.
I'm trying to make sure that Imam Amin don't get beat up by his wives.
It's forthcoming. I've been pushing the envelope straight up. Every day I'm pushing it more and more and more. So if I come to the meeting with a shiner, you know how I got it.
Alhamdulillah, high time here, 100. SubhanAllah.
See, it's going.
Alhamdulillah.
And guess Imam Siraj helped me with this. Imam Siraj said to me, he said, you know, Imam, see, we have 495. You see how it works? We got it. We got it. Just got it.
Who got 5 on it?
And they've been, see, they do it. Now, you just slowly build. Now you got to be smart to build with what we have to keep it going. That's why we need investments, Hassan. We need investments because we got money. We got to do something with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
To increase it because we don't have a lot of money.
But Imam, I mean, I know how it is because, you know, several months ago, my wife beat me up too. And see, I see Islo down there with the fists and all that stuff. She talked to Samira too much.
There you go. Kashif, Albuquerque Lighthouse, Albuquerque. And we come into Mexico, what's that, Mexico City or New Mexico?
New Mexico.
Are you arranging that? We on our way, bro. We waiting for you. Kashif, we waiting for you. We on our way. Is in as soon as I can get to PayPal. All right. That's right, Khadijah. Tell them. See, Khadijah know how this is. Donations shouldn't be like pulling teeth.
Right.
The only thing teeth is spelled with a TH.
No, we black. It's spelled with an F. Just like hadith is spelled with an F. Hadith. And Juma Kudbar is spelled with a R. Kudbar.
Oh my goodness. So he said, you ready? Yeah, come on. Imam Naeem is putting things together. Alhamdulillah. So Sayyidi Hassan, you have something to close out with?
Hold on, you want me to put together that New Mexico thing or you want him to go through you?
No, he could go through you. Go through Imam Naeem.
Inbox me, inshallah.
Yeah, Mariam, you right. I know some sisters in here, that's all they know is the Amazon package at the door. Sometimes brothers be tripping over Amazon packages. I ain't saying no sisters' names, but I know how that go. And then get mad at you because you don't know where their Amazon packages are. That's the family life, Hassan. We have fun. We family here.
Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, it's been alhamdulillah. This has been a wonderful experience. Alhamdulillah. Talk and share. Inshallah, we're going to follow up with implementation. Inshallah.
Inshallah. We did it. We started. We said we was going to do this part, right?
Absolutely.
When we get more help, we could do more. But sometimes we just so busy we can't get right back to people. And you know that from just being involved. Sometimes you're overwhelmed. And all of us are worked to our capacity. We're going sometimes above what we would comfortably do. We have to. But just be patient with each other. You know, inshallah, we'll get it done. Inshallah. All right, we hit the mark. So you have any closing words? You're the closing family member, so go for
it. No closing remarks. It's just alhamdulillah, it was a wonderful experience. Inshallah, looking forward to working together with you all, and inshallah we'll be expanding, inshallah. And
yeah, we down. We in.
Alhamdulillah.
So inshallah, hopefully we see you Saturday. We can have a nice, hopefully you can make it down.
What time does it start Saturday?
Well, we start Saturday probably like around 12, 1. Okay. All right, 1. But we should be a little early just so we ain't on CP time, 3 o'clock. So like
and
1.
And nothing on Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday's meeting time, you know. We're closing it up before everyone go home because we ain't gonna finish till late. You know what I mean? So Sunday, everybody will be sitting and we can have that gathering and powwow with some, you know. We're doing something though Sunday morning too, for those who are staying behind. So we're gonna take it's Saturday's the main day, but people are gonna be Friday and Sunday. We're gonna have, you know, some gathering in the morning.
Inshallah.
So we good? All right, Imam Naeem, Faheem, somebody's going to close us out.
Imam Naeem.
I knew Imam Faheem was going to say that.
You are ready.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, we ask you to protect and bless our brother, Sidi Hassan Bey. Alhamdulillah. We ask you to protect all of the Imams on this platform and all of the Imams who support us. Oh Allah, we ask you to give us the spirit of independence and take the spirit of servitude and slavehood of other than Allah out of our hearts. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. And oh Allah, please bless our gathering this coming weekend. Al-Fatiha.
Barakallahu bikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.